The light has just gone out, and right now in your neighborhood, people are making the same dangerous mistakes that have claimed more lives than the power outage itself. Do you think I exaggerate? During the power outage in the Northeast in 2003, accident mortality increased by 122% and disease by 25%, leading to over 90 deaths. These were not people struck by lightning or crushed by fallen wires. They were ordinary people who suffered because they did what seemed natural at the moment. You see, power outages not only stop the supply of electricity, they deprive one of common sense. They turn rational adults into panic-loving individuals who make decisions that seem logical but actually pose a threat to life. And the scariest thing is, you are likely to make the same mistakes as soon as the light goes out. But what distinguishes the survivors from the statistics is the knowledge of what not to do when the electricity goes out. Because in the case of a shutdown, a wrong step will not only cause inconvenience, it can cause serious harm. Let's talk about 8 things everyone does when the power goes out, and why each of them can be your biggest mistake. Mistake number 8, immediately grabbing the phone to check social media and drain the battery. When the power goes out, what do 90% of people do first? They take the phone not to call for help or check emergency alerts, but to go on Twitter or Instagram and post about what happened. The lights went out, haha, with a candlelit selfie. They scroll through feeds searching for updates, refresh apps that won't load, and quickly drain the battery, as if it will magically recharge from their frustration. This is the harsh reality. This phone could be your lifeline. During prolonged outages, cell towers begin to fail 4 to 5 hours after their backup batteries die. Your phone turns into an emergency radio, flashlight, and means of communication for calling for help if someone is injured. But most people drain their battery in the first hour by filming their dark living rooms. During Hurricane Sandy, rescue teams reported many cases where people couldn't call for help because they drained their phones by posting updates about power outages. Think about it. They had a direct connection to emergency services, and they traded it for social media interaction. A smart move. As soon as the lights go out, switch your phone to airplane mode and save battery. Use it only for necessary communications and emergency information. Download offline maps while you still have a signal. Turn off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and location services. Your phone is no longer for entertainment. This equipment is for survival. This approach to preparation saved people in more than 70 real projects, detailed in the survival program Without Electricity, where they learned that every modern device becomes valuable when the power goes out. Mistake number 7 is the haste to start the car to charge devices, thus wasting precious fuel. When people realize their phone is dead, panic sets in. And then they make the second terrible mistake. They rush to their car, start it, and begin charging everything they can. Phone, tablet, laptop, even their children's Nintendo Switch. They sit in the car for hours with the engine running, burning gas to keep their devices operational. But what they don't understand is, during a massive power outage, gas stations cannot refuel cars. These pumps require electricity, and most stations have enough backup power for only a few hours, if they have any at all. During the freezing temperatures in Texas in 2021, thousands of people exhausted all their gasoline on the first day, trying to keep warm and charge devices, and then found themselves in a difficult situation when they needed to evacuate to warming centers. You are essentially trading your mobility, the ability to avoid danger, for the convenience of charging your iPad. And for what? To watch Netflix until the internet goes down. This is the real situation. Your car is your lifeboat, not an entertainment center. This fuel can be a decisive factor between reaching a safe place and remaining in danger when it's necessary to leave a hazardous area. Use the car's charging ports sparingly and only for critical devices like phones. The best investment is in a portable charger that can power your essential devices without touching the fuel reserve. The professionals who wrote the book, Survival Projects Without Electricity, understand this well. They show how to build real backup power systems that do not depend on burning your emergency fuel. Mistake number 6 is opening all the windows for fresh air and destroying the insulation of your house. As soon as the air conditioner stops working, people's first thought is to open all the windows in the house. At least they can ensure a flow of air. They open doors, pull back curtains, and turn their home into a wind tunnel. This brings relief for 20 minutes. Then comes the realization. In fact, they have eliminated the house's ability to maintain a stable temperature. In summer, they let in hot air that will never cool down without air conditioning. In winter, they lose the warmth that has accumulated over several hours and cannot be restored without a heater. Your home becomes as cold as the outside, and you lose control. During the frost in Texas in 2021, almost a third of customers statewide were left without electricity. Many victims suffered because people lost control of the indoor temperature, making critical mistakes in the first hours. They opened the windows when the house was still warm, and when they realized their mistake, the temperature in the houses dropped below zero. The right approach depends on the season and time of day. In winter, keep everything tightly closed and focus on insulating one small area. In the summer heat, open the windows only at night when the outdoor temperature drops below the indoor one. Make sure to close everything tightly by dawn. Your house is a thermal battery. Don't deplete it thoughtlessly. Error number 5. Immediately eat all the treats from the fridge before they spoil. The power goes out and people think, well, this steak will spoil anyway. Better to have a feast. They light the grill, take out all the expensive meat and dairy products, and throw a party during the power outage. Ribeye steaks, premium ice cream, that exquisite cheese they had been saving, all of it is consumed in the first few hours, otherwise it will spoil. But here is the problem. They assume that electricity will return soon and start with the most caloric and nutritious food. But what will happen if the outage lasts for 2, 3 days, or longer? They will be left with crackers and canned beans, while the neighbors, who planned their supplies more wisely, are still eating nutritious food. The U.S. Department of Agriculture states that a full freezer will keep food safe for 48 hours if the door remains closed. A refrigerator will keep things cool for about 4 hours. This expensive steak could feed your family for another 2 days if you managed your supplies properly instead of panicking on the first day. A wiser strategy is to eat perishable foods gradually. Start with dairy products, then move on to fresh vegetables, then fresh meat, and leave frozen foods for later. Cook only what you can eat immediately. And for heaven's sake, stop opening the fridge every 5 minutes to check what's inside. You accelerate the decay of everything inside. Knowledge of food preservation is extremely important. That is why no-grid survival projects dedicate entire sections to methods of storing and preserving food that work when your refrigerator becomes useless. Mistake number 4, to use candles everywhere and turn your home into a fire trap. The lights go out and suddenly everything becomes a source of danger. They light candles in every room, on televisions, next to curtains, on coffee tables where children or pets might knock them over. They use any candles that come to hand. Decorative candles not meant for long burning, birthday candles in random holders, even homemade oil lamps made from cooking oil and paper towels. The National Fire Protection Association reports that candles annually cause over 7,600 house fires in the U.S., and power outages are a time when these numbers sharply increase. During the blackout in the Northeast in 2003, several families lost their homes due to fires caused by improper use of emergency lighting. They survived the outage but lost everything because open flames were perceived as harmless bulbs. Think about that. You place numerous open flames in your house when the response time of emergency services is delayed. Fire trucks may struggle to navigate dark streets, and smoke detectors, which rely on electricity, cannot be trusted. You are effectively putting all your property at risk. LED flashlights and battery-powered lamps provide brighter lighting, last longer, and pose no danger to your home. A $15 LED flashlight can illuminate a room for over 100 hours on one set of batteries. If you decide to use candles, do so wisely. No more than 1 candle per room. Place them in sturdy candle holders on non-flammable surfaces and away from anything that can catch fire. That is why veterans and survival experts working on off-grid survival projects teach how to create reliable emergency lighting systems that do not endanger your family. Mistake number 3 is assuming that neighbors can manage on their own and isolating from them. When the electricity goes out, most people instinctively withdraw and stay alone. They close doors, light candles, and wait for the outage to end in solitude. Neighbors are probably fine. Everyone knows what to do during a power outage, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. Communities where neighbors stay connected separate those areas that cope with power outages from those that become disaster zones during major outages. The safest neighborhoods are those where neighbors check on each other, share resources, and coordinate their actions. Dangerous areas are those where everyone assumes that others are fine. An elderly couple next door may have broken medical equipment. A lonely mother may not have batteries for her flashlight across the road, and she sits in the dark with her frightened children. A man with diabetes at the end of the street may not have a way to keep his insulin cool, and he doesn't know how to do it. Research conducted at Yale and Johns Hopkins University shows that power outages significantly increase both accidents and emergency medical situations related to illnesses. Many of these incidents can be prevented by simply coordinating actions in the community. Share ice, check on vulnerable neighbors, pool resources like battery-powered radios for emergency information. The first minutes after the power outage are the time to knock on doors, not hide behind your own. Create a simple system to check on neighbors. Exchange phone numbers. Identify who needs medical help, who has generators, and who has extra supplies. Isolated households become victims. Connected communities become survivors. Mistake number 2, drinking alcohol and treating power outages as an opportunity for a party. Nothing indicates a lack of understanding of the seriousness of the situation like opening a beer bottle just as the lights go out. Yet this happens all the time. People perceive outages as unexpected celebrations. They light candles to create an atmosphere, open a bottle of wine, and settle in for a romantic evening without electricity. When was the last time we just sat and talked without phones? Alcohol impairs your judgment, slows your reaction, and decreases the body's ability to regulate temperature. In situations where you may need to move quickly, make critical decisions, or respond to emergencies, being intoxicated can become dangerous. During an ice storm in Texas, emergency rooms witnessed cases where people made serious mistakes due to alcohol clouding their judgment in critical moments. Additionally, alcohol causes dehydration. In the absence of electricity, when access to clean water may be limited, dehydration becomes a serious problem. Your kidneys work harder, you need more water, and you become more vulnerable to the effects of heat or cold. The first 24 hours of any power outage are when most preventable incidents occur. This is not a time for fun. During this period, one must be attentive, alert, and ready for changing conditions. Leave the celebrations for when the light returns and you are sure that everything is safe. The number one mistake is to wait until the situation worsens before taking any action. This is the most serious mistake, the foundation of all others. At the moment of the power outage, most people prefer to wait and watch. Surely it will be restored quickly. There's no point in doing anything now. They sit in the dark, perhaps lighting a candle and just waiting to fill containers with water, waiting to charge devices. They wait to check on the neighbors. They wait to secure their home. They wait to gather necessary supplies. They wait until they understand that the situation is serious before they begin to act accordingly. But here is the harsh truth. As soon as you realize the situation is serious, your time to prepare is already gone. Stores are overflowing or closed. Gas stations are empty. Cell towers are down. Emergency services are overwhelmed. You have gone from being one step ahead to being left behind. This situation can be dangerous. In August 2003, more than 50 million Americans and Canadians were without electricity for up to 4 days. The people who survived these days best were not those with the most supplies, but those who acted immediately, seeing the first hour as the last chance to prepare properly. The correct approach is to assume that the power outage will last at least 72 hours. Act accordingly from the first minute. Fill all containers with water. Charge all devices. Ensure the safety of your home. Check your supplies. Contact your neighbors. Gather information about emergencies. It is better to be overly cautious during a 30-minute outage than to be underprepared during a week-long crisis. This is what history teaches us. People who survived prolonged power outages are not those who were best prepared before the outage, but those who used the first golden hour most effectively after the lights went out. They are the ones who acted while others waited. Every minute spent in waiting mode is a minute when your neighbors gain advantages at the store, gas station, or ATM. It is a minute when the situation worsens while you do not become better prepared to handle it. That is why I always recommend off-grid survival projects to anyone serious about preparedness. This detailed guide includes over 70 step-by-step projects that teach you how to become completely self-sufficient in case of a power outage. Here you will find information on creating your own backup power sources, collecting water in emergencies, preserving food, and protecting your home. It covers everything you need to know to ensure your family's safety during prolonged outages. And here's the deal. A full money-back guarantee is offered on this product for 60 days. You can keep the physical book even if you decide to get a refund. This shows how confident the authors are that this guide will change your approach to preparation. During a power outage, choices can cost lives. Action saves. The choice is yours, but you will only have the opportunity to make it once. Time starts ticking when the lights go out. What you do in the first hour determines whether you will be a survivor or a statistic. Don't be the one who waits to take serious action until it's too late. Start implementing off-grid survival projects today and no longer worry about being unprepared when the lights go out.